Hello YouTube, Mariel here. Today I would like to talk about something else that I've noticed about my wolf, and this is his habit of copying me and substituting me, and doing all of this right in front of me too. It's not like behind my back or anything, no, right in front of me. His boldness is so over the top and so blatant and so in my face that my poor mind, every single time this used to happen, my poor mind just could not accept it could be doing any of it intentionally. So I am assuming here that uninformed brains like mine would just do probably the same thing that I did, quickly rationalize that the only reason this person that loves me and that cares for me and that I trust, the only reason that person is obviously copying me so openly in front of my face could simply be because A, they approve of me and what I stand for. So somewhere along the line your ego gets involved and you get busy feeling flattered. B, you probably rationalize it again like, well, maybe they've just forgotten, maybe they've just it just slipped their mind that you've already done that, or you've already talked about something very similar and actually it was your idea in the first place. Either way, you don't want to come across as being difficult or as being petty, so you just let it go. And once more, your ego probably gets involved and you get busy patting yourself, patting yourself in the back for showing a very good level of tolerance and being the better kind of person for being able to rise above, small issue. C, by the third time or the fifth time or the umpteenth time you have come across this situation, depending on your level of tolerance, you might start to get suspicious and you might start to feel offended or even just concerned. But usually by then, it's too late and a lot of damage may have already been done. Basically what happened is that the way I see it, for me, it looks very much like the deer caught in headlights or kind of moment, while the psychological bandit literally steals your identity and impersonates you in front of everyone else, which by doing this in front of everybody legitimize his activities inside everybody else's subconscious, while you are still very busy dismissing them as nothing more than awkward, well-meaning, then silly, then totally stupid, maybe irritating, and so on, the different ways that the mind can find to actually rationalize such very, very bad behavior. And by the time you realize what's truly been happening, well, you not only have to work hard to complete the puzzle piece, because if you didn't catch it properly at the first time, neither the second time, neither the third time, the chances are you're completely clueless, and when things are going to start to make sense, this is only after you sitting down and revisiting the situation over and over and trying to connect the dots, which to me I call that, it's a puzzle piece. So you have to complete that puzzle, and then you have to deal with the consequences of such an identity theft, because that's exactly what's happening. the person is literally copycatting you to actually steal your identity, your mannerism, and things that comes out of your mind. And the consequences are going to probably take quite a long time to clean up. But that's not even, for me, the way I see it, that's not even the hardest part. The hardest part of all is to have your own mind is to have your own mind laugh at you and chant over and over that the only idiot in this story was you all along. Yeah, and that's something for me that, happens, over and over. It's a case of, oh my God, I thought he was being silly, I thought he was being shy, I thought he was being awkward, I thought, all those things that my very uninformed mind kept thinking and rationalizing, when actually, no, I was actually being stupid and I was being taken advantage of, and I had no idea. And I remember my father used to say something that went along like this: there are people who are capable of taking a dump, then put their finger in their own doo-doo, and then take that soiled finger and force you to smell it. Or even better, they'll take your face and then rub it and really hold you by the scruff of the neck, kind of thing, and rub your face in the doo-doo, and then ask you, how you doing? How you doing? like Wendy Williams does. How you doing? I was very young when my father used to say those kind of things, and obviously it meant nothing to me at the time. And here we are 30 years later. I'm finally catching on. And it's not pleasant, and it really leads me to actually think that for him to see that, he must have been through quite a few things as well. And me personally, such example has been most evident while raising children with my wolf. Every time I'll do things with the children, my wolf wouldn't want to participate. This is something I've mentioned very often in my other videos, and that's because it's true. Even if he was present, he'll find a way not to participate. He'll find a way not to be present. He'll just find a way just to be there and still not be there, if you understand what I'm trying to say. And all the thing he would do consistently was to make the children feel bad about my initiative and make the children doubt about my intentions towards them. But the funny thing is, many years later, he would take up that very same initiative, or that very same idea, or that very same activity that I introduced to the children, and he'll start doing it with the children, as if it was his idea. At the time when it actually happened, when he used to do those kind of things, my heart will open and I'll go, oh, finally, at least he's doing something with the kids. So I'll be encouraging, and I'll be very, very glad that he actually even took the time to even, take the time to be with his kids. I knew how much the kids loved and missed him. So I was just over the moon. But now I know this was, this behavior, even those tiny little things that he did with the children was absolutely not genuine at all. Over time, I would watch him use my reasoning and the very same tone I use with the children, and even my wordings. You have, every single one of us have got a way of communicating with our children, and yes, I do have my own way as well. And so he would do those things. He will copycat me so well so that the children could associate him. Now I'm actually thinking that was his way to make the children associate him with trying to do something positive in their lives, since he was never there. The worst thing about that method of copying me is the substituting. And when I say substituting, there are several layers about it, and it's something that I don't know how else to explain it. I'm gonna try, but it's a technique and it's a tactic which works perfectly, and I know it works. The way that I know that it actually works, because I have noticed that my children have replaced me in some of our treasured memories with him inside the memory, or at the helm of the memory, or as the creator of that very particular memory, when I know he wasn't even there. When that memory, that moment, that event was created, or when it happened, he was either sulking somewhere, or he actually even said something that wasn't very encouraging, or he wasn't there. I remember that, but the children were too young. They don't. And I don't even know how else to say that. And every single time I look pathetic, desperate, and sometimes even I look like I am a liar for constantly trying to remind my children that, hang on a second here, children. No, your father wasn't there. No, he only started to do this with you children long after I started it. I'm the one who started it first, and he actually never wanted to do it in the first place. So every single time I try to reintroduce the truth and trying to protect those memories, I look bad. I just look pathetic and bad. And that small example that I just mentioned here demonstrate how extremely lazy those people are. But then again, are they truly lazy? Is it truly laziness? You see, I can no longer know where I stand or where the truth is. Everything is so muddled and so complicated and intertwined. It really is difficult, and sometimes just gives me a headache trying to make sense of it all. It's a case of, I think I'm following a branch here, and I'm thinking I've actually got the truth of something, only to realize that truth, that possible truth, has so many under layers that are just way too difficult to could potentially lead me again into another false trail. Because the web of deception is so deep and potentially well orchestrated that even going down what looks like sometimes the rabbit hole, I might even get lost myself. So at this point, it's a case of, if I call him lazy, am I about to dismiss my wolf? Can I afford to make that mistake when I'm actually trying to figure everything out? Well, let's find out. You see, I have noticed that my wolf has never taken the time to be original in most of what he does in the house with us. He just copies my ideas. Because of that, it has been tempting for me to think of him as lazy. Yes, and I have also been tempted to think that maybe he copies me because he just wants to impress either our children or a third party we're dealing with. But I think it's none of the reasons above. After just something that happened recently, which I'm going to be talking about a bit later on, I think it's much more than that. And I think if I'm right, this could explain perfectly the example of the deer caught in headlights. You know, the moment people, you see something that you never seen before and you just like, you don't have the memory bank, you don't have the resources, you don't have the information, you don't have, you've never seen anything like that. So your brain is frantically trying to figure out how to understand what they're witnessing, you are literally frozen in time, waiting for your brain to come back online, kind of thing, and click so that you can react. And it's one of those moments, and I think this is what exactly explained those kind of moments, because you can blame it. It's so easy for most of us to blame ourselves, and me, I have a tendency of blaming myself and calling myself stupid and calling my brain too slow to react, too slow to think, just too slow. I have this tendency of saying that about myself, but I have to accept the fact that I've never seen anything like my wolf before. I have never come across something like that, and until you have, unless you're somebody that's always on the lookout for problems and always ready to jump on other people's throat, the chances are you're gonna be like me, and you are just gonna be scratching your head and going like, let me think. And yes, and one of the reasons this can easily happen, because the truth is just too difficult to contemplate, and that truth is just seriously, potentially beyond mean. It's pure hatred. It's pure hatred, a level of hatred that a lot of us have never come across in our in our existence. It's just too much for the brain to contemplate and to accept. This can, certain behavior, even though they're very, very bad and obviously just horrible, but they can still be accepted under certain circumstances, like in a job place, in a highly competitive place, or in certain sport where the mind of your opponent is what you go after, and that kind of thing. But a normal functioning person cannot be raised to think this is something you have to watch out for within your circle of people, not just people that you trust, but your own family, the family you're raising, the person you're sleeping with, the person that you love and trust, and who's supposed to protect you, who's supposed to be there for you. And do end at one point. They can end, and the ending of any relationship can potentially be turned very, very nasty. But situations like mine, it's even more difficult, because this is the truth is that person right from the beginning engaged you in engaged you in in making you think they loved you, when in fact they hated you. And throughout the whole courtship, throughout the whole seduction phase, throughout all the years, their masks was firmly on. They despised you. So this means that there was never a moment where that person felt true love for you, and that is difficult to deal with. And the truth of what I am talking about here, and the truth that I think I have stumbled upon here, is that I think my wolf have been using this tactic of copycatting me and substituting me with our children with the sole purpose and intention to erase me, to literally rub me out of my own existence, out of my life, out of the life that I or we created together as a family. I think that's his purpose. And something very specific prompted me to think that way, because just earlier today, my daughter and I, we had a very small disagreement. But I just did. I'm thinking it's a small agreement, but to my daughter and to my husband, it's something completely different. My daughter is probably thinking something completely outrageous and completely disproportionate, and my husband is busy just making sure the flames are growing bigger, to make sure that this catches on and becomes something more than he actually is. So God knows. So anyway, we had this small disagreement earlier, and out of the blue, my wolf just declared that he wanted my daughter to start doing some exercise. That caught me by surprise, and I thought, what? I didn't think. I asked him, what? You want her to do some exercise? Well, that's between you two, because I've been there and I've done that, and I'm not going there with her anymore. So I just let it be, and that's all I said, and I moved on. But then when I thought about it, it clicked in my mind. I realized that here is a man that has never approved of me taking the children even on my walks, or taking them to the gym with me. He never did. So much so that the children were openly starting to accuse me of being many bad things to them, and only recently, now that my son is he's gone, and my daughter is grown enough and prefers to sleep in when I leave the house, I have quite happily just let her, I've just been very happy to just let it go and drop it, and I've been happy to just oblige her, because I feel at least I did my best giving them good healthy habits, and I also felt it was time for me to let go, and now that I've actually let go, because it's time, now my wolf is getting all busy to to start acting like the perfect father, and the perfect father and the caring father that he has never been. And there again is an example of him copying me, but it's of him copying me right in front of my face, using my own ideas and what I'm doing, but not to impress the child, not to... It has nothing to do with being lazy and not wanting to think and wanting to do something good for the child. No. This, I think, is very specifically designed tactic so that in a child's mind, the child will remember daddy making the effort, daddy doing it. But the child will forget that I did it first. The child will forget that I was the one with the good intentions to start with. In their mind, the child, my daughter, is slowly going to just replace me with just dad's doing. And that's the intention of my husband. He is efficiently and very effectively raising me inside our children's mind. You have to understand he's been doing this for a very long time. My children are now 19 and 17. And this is me just properly catching on after decades of such a behavior. And this is heartbreaking and rather alarming to think that this is intentional. He knows what he's doing, and it's working. I've seen it. It's working. How can I not feel like he's winning? How?